You know, it's funny how the most extraordinary experiences can start with the most ordinary moments. One minute, I'm sitting in a high school classroom, doodling rocket ships in the margins of my notebook. The next, I'm floating above the Earth in the International Space Station, watching continents drift by like lazy clouds. It was 2028, and I, Kyle Thompson, along with my fellow adventurer Aisha Johnson, became the first teenagers in space. I still remember the day the email came in. Congratulations. You have been selected as one of 100 trainees for the first Kid in Space program. I thought it was a prank. I mean, who gets an email like that? But then again, who checks their spam folder and finds a ticket to the stars? My parents were skeptical at first. Kyle, are you sure this isn't one of those internet scams? My mom asked, stirring a pot of her famous spaghetti sauce, the kind that could make even astronauts homesick. But once the official paperwork arrived, skepticism turned into excitement. Our small town buzzed with the news. The local newspaper ran a headline, "Local teen shoots for the stars," literally. Aisha told me later that her family had a similar reaction. My grandma nearly dropped her knitting needles. She laughed. She said, "Baby girl, you're going to make history." Training was no walk in the park, or rather, no spacewalk on the ISS. It was intense, exhausting, and absolutely thrilling. The 100 of us were put through a rigorous program that tested our physical limits and mental agility. Aisha and I quickly became friends, bonding over our mutual inability to keep our shoelaces tied during physical training. Maybe they'll stay tied in zero gravity, she joked, her eyes twinkling with mischief. We learned everything from orbital mechanics to emergency protocols. Simulators became our second home. One time, during a simulated spacewalk, I accidentally hit the wrong button, sending my virtual self spiraling into the digital abyss. Well, there goes Kyle, lost in cyberspace, Aisha teased over the intercom. We also had to undergo wilderness survival training, just in case our capsule landed off course upon return. Imagine a group of teenagers trying to build shelters and start fires in the woods. "This is ridiculous," I complained, rubbing two sticks together without success. "Hey, if you can handle re-entry, you can handle a little camping," Aisha retorted, finally igniting a small flame. As training progressed, the reality that only 2 of us would be selected loomed over everyone. Friendships formed, but so did rivalries. The day of the announcement, tension filled the air like static electricity. We gathered in a large auditorium, and the program director stepped onto the stage. "You've all shown incredible dedication," he began. "But as you know, only 2 will make this historic journey." When he called out Aisha's name, she gasped, her eyes welling up with tears of joy. Then, hearing my own name felt like an out-of-body experience. The room erupted in applause, but all I could hear was the pounding of my heart. Afterward, Aisha found me staring blankly at a wall. "Earth to Kyle," she said, waving a hand in front of my face. "We're going to space." I grinned. Guess we better make sure our shoelaces are tied. When the day of the launch finally arrived, my stomach felt like it was hosting a zero-gravity experiment of its own. Clad in our sleek SpaceX suits, Aisha and I boarded the Dragon capsule. The control panels blinked with lights, and the seats molded perfectly to our forms. The hum of the engines was a lullaby of technological marvel. "Ready to become stars?" Aisha asked, her voice crackling through the headset. "Only if I don't throw up first," I replied, gripping the armrests. As the countdown commenced, every second felt like a lifetime. Then, with a force that pressed us back into our seats, we were off. The sky transitioned from blue to indigo to the deepest black I've ever seen. Weightlessness kicked in, and I felt my breakfast do a little flip. "Welcome to space, kiddos," the mission commander said over the comms. "Enjoy the ride." Arriving at the ISS was surreal. The hatch opened, and we floated into a labyrinth of modules, wires, and equipment. The station had a lived-in feel, like a cozy apartment that just happened to orbit the Earth every 90 minutes. Commander Vasquez greeted us with a warm smile. "Welcome aboard, junior astronauts," she said. "Make yourselves at home, but not too much, we don't want you floating away." Our days were filled with experiments, maintenance tasks, and even a little gardening. Aisha took a special interest in the hydroponic tomatoes. Imagine, she mused, space salsa. We conducted a live video call with students back on Earth. Aisha showed off a water bubble floating in midair, while I attempted, and failed, to do a zero-gravity somersault, much to everyone's amusement. One evening, though day and night are relative terms up there, Aisha and I found ourselves by the Cupola, the ISS's panoramic window to the universe. The Earth sprawled below us, a vibrant mosaic of blues, greens, and swirling whites. "Look," Aisha whispered, pointing at a glowing network of lights. "That's the Nile River. And over there, that's our home." It hit me then, the fragility and unity of our planet. Borders vanished, and conflicts seemed petty from this vantage point. "You think everyone should see this?" I asked. "Absolutely," she replied. "Maybe then we'd have fewer problems down there." Our serene journey took an unexpected turn on the fourth day. We were in the middle of an experiment, measuring cosmic radiation levels, when an alarm sounded, a soft but urgent beeping that echoed through the station. Commander Vasquez's voice came over the intercom, calm yet firm. "All crew, we have a potential collision alert. A piece of satellite debris is on a possible intersect course with the ISS. Initiate safety protocols." My heart skipped a beat. Aisha glanced at me, her eyes wide but composed. "Time to put that training to use," she said. We moved quickly to our assigned stations. The crew had rehearsed this scenario countless times, but experiencing it firsthand was entirely different. The station's thrusters were fired to perform a debris avoidance maneuver. Data streamed across the monitors, displaying distance calculations and trajectory paths. "Estimated time to closest approach, 10 minutes, the flight engineer announced. We strapped ourselves into seats and waited. The minutes felt like hours. I could hear my own heartbeat, a steady drum in the silence. "What's the likelihood of impact?" I whispered to Aisha. "Minimal," she replied, offering a reassuring smile. "But better safe than sorry." Commander Vasquez kept us informed. "The object is a defunct satellite fragment, about the size of a baseball. Small, but at our velocities, it could cause significant damage." Finally, the all-clear signal sounded. "Collision avoided," the commander confirmed. A collective sigh of relief filled the cabin. "Well, that was exciting," I said, attempting to lighten the mood. Aisha laughed softly. "Just another day in space." The incident was a reminder of the realities of space travel, the beauty and the risks intertwined. It also highlighted the importance of international cooperation in tracking space debris. Later, during dinner, the crew discussed ongoing efforts to clean up Earth's orbit. "It's like taking out the trash," Aisha remarked. "Except the trash is moving at 17,500 miles per hour." We all chuckled, but the underlying seriousness wasn't lost on us. Space may seem vast, but it's a shared environment that requires responsibility. Life on the ISS wasn't all profound revelations and close calls. There were plenty of lighter moments. Like the time I accidentally let go of a packet of dehydrated ice cream, and we spent an hour chasing down floating chunks before they could clog the air filters. Or when Aisha attempted to play her harmonica, only to find that breath control is a whole different ballgame in zero gravity. "Well, there goes my debut album," she laughed. We even held a microgravity race, propelling ourselves from one end of the module to the other using tiny puffs of air from a canister. Commander Vasquez acted as the referee, though she was laughing too hard to enforce any rules. One night, we decided to have an international potluck of sorts. Each crew member prepared a dish from their home country, modified for space conditions. Aisha's space-friendly cornbread was a hit. "Secret family recipe," she winked. I attempted to recreate my mom's spaghetti using rehydrated pasta and sauce packets. "Not quite like home, but it'll do," I said, serving it up. "Hey, any pasta in space is good pasta," the Russian cosmonaut quipped. One of the most significant events during our stay was a joint communication between the ISS and various international leaders commemorating the station's final year in operation. We were part of a live broadcast that symbolized global cooperation. "Here we are," Aisha said during the broadcast, "proof that when we reach for the stars, we do it together." Her words resonated with millions. For a brief moment, social media was ablaze with messages of unity and hope. It was incredible to think that two teenagers could contribute to such a monumental conversation. After the broadcast, we received messages from students around the world. One that stood out was from a girl in Kenya who wrote, "Seeing you up there makes me believe I can achieve anything. Thank you." "That's why we're here," I said to Aisha. "To inspire." She nodded. "And to remind everyone that the sky is not the limit, it's just the beginning." Our week aboard the ISS flew by, pun intended. On our last day, the crew gathered for a small farewell ceremony. They presented us with mission patches and a tiny model of the ISS. "Carry this experience with you," Commander Vasquez told us. "And don't forget to look up once in a while." As we strapped into the Dragon capsule for our return trip, I felt a mix of sadness and anticipation. The re-entry was both terrifying and exhilarating, a fiery plunge back into the atmosphere that rattled the capsule on our nerves. Landing back on Earth, we were greeted by a crowd of well-wishers, officials, and, of course, our families. My mom hugged me so tight I thought I might float again. "I'm so proud of you," she whispered, tears in her eyes. Aisha's family enveloped her in a group hug. Her grandma held her face gently. "You did it, baby girl. You touched the stars." Stepping out onto Earth's soil was strange. Gravity felt like an old friend who'd grown clingy in our absence. Reporters swarmed us, microphones and cameras thrust forward like curious satellites. "What was it like up there?" they asked. "Indescribable," I replied. "But we'll try anyway." Back home, life had continued its steady rhythm. My mom's spaghetti sauce tasted better than ever. Aisha and I became minor celebrities at school, though our classmates were more interested in whether space food tasted like cardboard, it does, than our philosophical insights. One afternoon, Aisha and I were invited to speak at a local elementary school. The kids' faces lit up as we described floating in space and seeing Earth from above. "Did you see aliens?" one boy asked eagerly. "Not this time," Aisha winked. But we kept an eye out. Looking back, the experience taught me more than any classroom ever could. I learned the value of teamwork, not just between Aisha and me, but on a global scale. The ISS was a testament to what humanity could achieve when we put aside our differences. I also gained a profound appreciation for the simplicity of everyday life. The feel of grass under my feet, the sound of rain tapping on the window, even the hustle and bustle of our small town, all these things took on new significance. And perhaps most importantly, I learned that the universe is both vast and accessible. Space isn't just the domain of seasoned astronauts or sci-fi fantasies. It's a place where two teenagers with untied shoelaces can float among the stars. As the ISS prepares for decommissioning, I can't help but feel a pang of nostalgia. But I also feel hopeful. Our journey was a bridge between generations of explorers. Maybe one day, trips to space will be as commonplace as a drive across town. "Think we'll ever go back?" Aisha asked me recently. "Only if they fix the ice cream situation," I joked. But in all seriousness, I believe we will. Because once you've seen the world from that perspective, you carry a piece of the stars within you forever. The simplicity of floating in space taught me to appreciate the complexities of life on Earth. The lessons we learned up there, in unity, humility, and wonder, are ones I carry with me every day. And while the ISS may soon be a chapter in the history books, its legacy lives on in all of us who had the privilege to call it home, even for a little while. So here's to the stars, to friendship, and to the boundless possibilities that await when we dare to venture beyond the known. After all, as Aisha wisely said, space may be infinite, but so is our potential. A few months after our return, Aisha and I were invited to attend a global summit on space exploration. We shared our experiences and emphasized the importance of inspiring the next generation. During the summit, we met scientists and explorers who were working on missions to the Moon and Mars. "You two are pioneers," one of them told us. "Your journey proves that space is for everyone." As we continue our lives, college, careers, perhaps even future space missions, we carry with us the indelible mark of our time aboard the ISS. The stars may be distant, but they are no longer unreachable. So to anyone reading this, especially those younger than us, keep dreaming, keep reaching, and keep looking up. The universe is vast, but it's not out of reach. And who knows? Maybe next time, it'll be you floating in that window, watching the earth turn beneath you. Our adventure may have been a brief moment in the grand timeline of space exploration, but its impact continues to ripple outward. Every time I look up at the night sky, I remember that feeling of weightlessness, the awe of seeing our planet from above, and the camaraderie shared aboard the ISS. The experience taught me that while the universe is immense, it's also intimately connected to us. Each star, each planet, each celestial body holds the potential for discovery and understanding. And perhaps, most importantly, it taught me that the spirit of exploration is alive and well in all of us. So here's to the future explorers, the dreamers, and the ones who dare to reach beyond the horizon. The universe is waiting,